Welcome to my channel. My name is Brittany, and today we're discussing episodes 1 and 2 of season 14 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Let's get into it. It's the season to be shady. So this season I'm liking so far. I love the production. It looks like fresh and new. I really love it this season. So in the beginning of episode 1, they're playing the song I Love My Life. This kind of brought me back into, I think it was season 3 with when Yolanda came on board and they all went to her house and David Foster was playing the piano and no one was allowed to sing, remember? And they made up a song and Kyle actually wanted to sing I Love My Life. And so they made up a little song that kind of brought me back to that moment. So I thought that was kind of cool. But we see all the girls doing their thing. We see Kyle at her house moving furniture with Portia. And I actually thought that was Alexia at first. They look so much alike. It's crazy. And they're all just getting so big. And they're all beautiful girls. Then we get into Kyle. She's kind of telling us what's new in her life. She says that Mo has moved out. So he no longer is living at the home. And then Kyle starts talking about Dorit in her confessional and how she was upset with Dorit because at BravoCon, Dorit was asked by Andy who her favorite Richard sister was. And then immediately after, Kyle spills a drink on Dorit. And Dorit jokingly says, okay, Kathy is definitely number 1 and Kyle is definitely number 3. And it was obviously a joke. Even Kyle was laughing in the clip. But Kyle says that she is upset about this. And I just can't take that seriously. It was very clearly a joke. And she was laughing at it herself. I have no idea where this came from. I think this is just, typical Kyle. Always bringing it back to herself. Kind of making it a little over dramatic when it didn't need to be. I understand she was sensitive about her sister, but it was really obviously a joke. I think she's really pushing it with this one. I mean, it's clear to me that Kyle wants her friends to suck up to her, right? Whenever she was sitting at the reunion with Kathy and they were kind of going back and forth, and then Dorit chimed in and said, I think Kathy wants you to take a little responsibility. Kyle freaks out on her and it's like, I don't want you to get involved with this. And I don't really think that's fair because Dorit wasn't being rude or mean about anything, but Kyle just kind of freaked out. And I think it's just because Dorit wasn't on her side 100% in that moment. And Kyle needs that, right? Kyle needs her friends to be up or behind, I mean, that's kind of how it is. So then we go to Dorit's confessional and she believes that Kyle is a manipulator. I can see that. I don't think she's totally off the mark there. I think we've known this since Lucy Apple Juicy episode with LVP. That was definitely orchestrated partly by Kyle, I believe. So I don't think Dorit's reinventing the wheel. I think Dorit's onto something. Then we see Garcelle. She's doing really well. She's working on another movie. And then Garcelle gets a notification from Instagram and she sees that Dorit has announced her separation from PK. And of course, Garcelle makes a shady comment. Of course, this post is long-winded. I thought that was pretty funny. So I love Garcelle's shady little digs. I think it's funny, but you let me know in the comments what you think. Then we see Dorit visiting Kathy, and Kathy is a diva mess. She has eye masks on. I think she has an IV drip in her arm. She's getting her hair done and this is all in her home. She is so crazy. She is wild. And I have to say, I love the Richard sisters and Hilton, Kathy Hilton. I think they are so fascinating and I would pay a little bit of money because I'm not rich, but I would pay a pretty good dollar for to see a Netflix documentary on their life and their mom, especially Big Kathy. I just think that would be so interesting. Have you heard all the rumors about Big Kathy? It's pretty crazy. We might have to make another video about that one, but I digress. So Dorit goes to Kathy's house and it's kind of weird. I didn't really see them being close, but I'm sure this is just production, setting the scene up. But yeah, so Dorit ends up going over to Kathy's house. She walks in on Kathy with everything going on, the IV drip, the face mask, she's getting her hair done. She's just kind of sitting back in her chair and Dorit sits across from her and Dorit starts talking about her breakup and her separation. And all the while, Kathy is just sitting back with her eyes closed and just in her own world, she always is. And it was pretty pretty funny setup right there. Dorit says PK is an alcoholic, and PK said he has gotten sober. So I guess that's good. That is good. And it like goes back and forth. Dorit saying, you know, she's a good listener. PK says she is not. They're pretty much contradicting one another. So I'm sure that's one of the reasons why they aren't married anymore or are separated. And then Dorit says he was gone a lot, and PK said he was gone a lot because he was trying to sustain Dorit's lifestyle. And I mean, I guess that makes sense. I mean, every time we see Dorit, she's decked out head to toe in Chanel, Dior, Dolce, Versace, all these luxury brands that are crazy expensive. There's no way these brands are just giving her clothes. I mean, maybe some things here and there, but definitely not the whole wardrobe. You know, they already had to downsize in their home. And yeah, and she has like a couple businesses, but they didn't really go anywhere. Like she had her swimwear, and then she had, you know, the bridal wear. And I mean, what happened to those? I never hear about those. So that's a huge lifestyle to pay for. Very lavish. And so I can absolutely see him needing to work very, very hard to sustain her lifestyle. I know she gets paid by the show, but it's definitely not that much. Not enough to buy everything that she needs. But that being said, I don't think PK is totally innocent. I think PK likes that lifestyle. He definitely came across as someone who likes the finer things in life. Dorit even said one time that if given the choice, camping or glamping, I think she said he would just stay in like the Four Seasons or something. He likes that lifestyle too. So it's definitely not just Dorit. And then this is kind of sad. Dorit said that she stuck by PK through everything, which is true. I mean, at least with the bankruptcy, he went bankrupt and she was there for him. And then Dorit said that he just disappeared. And to be honest, I never really bought them as a couple anyway. I just don't think they were right for each other. I mean, listen, let's be real. Dorit I don't know how much younger she is than PK, but she looks a lot younger, right? And she's beautiful. You know, PK's not a bad looking guy, especially now that he's gotten sober. He looks pretty good. So I'm not saying he's an ugly man or anything, but she really was kind of out of his league in the beginning. Let's be honest. And yeah, I just didn't really buy them as a couple. I don't know. I do know she says she was like engaged in Italy to an Italian man or something like that. And then they broke it off. And I think she met PK after. And I feel like that happens sometimes when you are in this like really loving, romantic relationship that you're just crazy head over heels for this person. And then it breaks off. And then you marry the person right after them. I'm not saying that happens all the time. It hasn't happened with me, but I have seen women and men that have kind of just jumped into the next relationship and quickly either lived together or were with this person for a really, really long time, or they got married or something like that. So that's really interesting. So then we go to the Surrealism party hosted by Sutton. This was actually really fun. People were wearing horns, whatever you call them, on their heads. Dorit had like a UFO looking thing on her head. I actually thought it was cute, her outfit. Who else? I actually thought Kyle looked really cute too. I think that's about it. Jennifer Tilly looked nice. Love Jennifer Tilly so far. If you don't know, you probably know, but if you don't know, she's an actress. She's been in a lot of great movies. She's been in Liar Liar with Jim Carrey. She was the voice of one of the monsters in Monsters, Inc., which is a Disney movie. I mean, she's been in a lot of really big movies. So she is definitely a great asset or addition to the Real Housewives. And speaking of additions, let's talk about Bose. So I love Bose. So she has been in corporate America for 25 years. She's retired. She's incredibly successful. I know she was the CMO of Netflix. So I work in social media and Netflix is kind of like my dream job. The fact that she was a CMO there and she's worked in marketing and she's incredibly successful, I love that. So I'm already a huge fan. I just think she's going to be a great addition. She really doesn't seem like someone who's just going to like take Kyle's side no matter what, or take Erica's side no matter what. And that is what Real Housewives of Beverly Hills has been missing. We have needed someone who can stand on their own, have their own opinion. They don't have to side with the cool girls or whatever. And I don't even want her siding with Sutton and Garcelle. I want her to be her own person with her own opinions. And I definitely think she's going to be that woman, that girl, right? She's that girl. It's great to have someone who is so successful. I think that's so fun. And that's another thing that we've been missing. We have successful housewives. I mean, like Garcelle, and LVP was a success. But yeah, we just haven't had that huge success like LVP in a long time. And I think Bose is it, right? I mean, she's been in this game for 25 years and now she's retired. That is extremely impressive. I think she was named like the #1 CMO in Forbes magazine. So it's great that she is added to the cast. At the surrealism party, Bose and Dorit click. Bose starts talking about her late husband and how he died from cancer, which is super sad. And then Dorit kind of goes in and talks about her separation with PK, and she's like going on and on and on. Long-winded, right? But Bose seemed to really click with her, and I thought that was great. I like seeing that friendship kind of start forming, right? It's like about time someone that can accept her rambling, at least so far, right? So then Garcelle and Kyle start talking. Right, Garcelle asks about Morgan, and Kyle says there's nothing going on. Garcelle says, what about that music video with Morgan, because it was really explicit. They were like almost making out, and it was like a whole thing. It was obvious they were like a couple in the video, right? And so Kyle says it's just speculation and people make a big deal out of nothing. It's like, it's not speculation, Kyle. Now, if you were just in her music video, like just a normal woman in her video, like doing something else, riding a horse, I don't know, anything but rubbing up on Morgan, then I don't think, then okay, yeah, you could say it's just speculation. You're just in her music video for fun or to support your friend or whatever. But come on, you know what you were doing. You wanted the speculation, you wanted the talk, just be honest, right? That's the thing about Kyle. She's always saying be honest, but she's never being honest. That is what's frustrating. I actually like Kyle. She was my favorite until like the LVP situation. Actually, no, she was my favorite until the Denise situation. That was really sketchy. And I honestly think she did that because she was having so many problems in her own marriage. And so I think she was trying to deflect. But that's just my opinion. But yeah, I mean, Kyle used to be my favorite. I knew she was a snob. She was born in Beverly Hills. I took her as she was. But now it's like you're always telling people to be honest and you're not being honest yourself. And I would just have more respect for her if she would just be honest. Like, yeah, I wanted to be in that video to spark a conversation. I wanted to be in that video because I mean, she doesn't have to come out and say she likes Morgan because that's a personal thing. And I don't, I know that's what she did to Denise pretty much, and I don't think that's right. So she doesn't have to come out and say that, but just be like, yeah, I wanted to have fun. I wanted people to talk, blah, 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 right? But she just won't do it. She's always deflecting and saying it's this person, it's that person, it's the media. It's like, no, Kyle, I think it's you. So they all sit down and Bose is there and Kathy walks over and she calls her boss, and Dorit's like, that's not her name. And poor Dorit, because Kathy did mispronounce Dorit's name, calling her Dorit a few seasons ago. But no, apparently Kathy was just calling her a boss and saying she's a boss, which she is. So then Dorit and Kyle go and talk amongst themselves, and Dorit is really upset by Kyle because Kyle went on Amazon Live and saying that her friendship to Dorit was exaggerated and that she only went on a trip, Mo and Kyle only went on a trip with PK and Dorit like one time. And so their friendship was blown out of proportion pretty much. And of course, this hurts Dorit's feelings, and I definitely can understand that. And then, Kyle says she said that because of what Dorit said at BravoCon, saying that Kathy was her favorite sister, which we already talked about, and that was obviously a joke. And, Dorit just looks at Kyle and she's like, you just think I'm an idiot. And Dorit thinks that Kyle is upset with her because Dorit said that her friendship has changed ever since she met Morgan, ever since Kyle met Morgan. And Dorit said that on Watch What Happens Live. And so Dorit thinks that that's why Kyle is upset at her. Kyle just sips her water and storms out. And Dorit says in her confessional that she's no longer going to shut up anymore. And I'm here for it, right? We're finally here for it. We want these women to be honest, and we don't want just sucking up all the time, right? We want them to be honest. And so I am here for Dorit. She is earning her diamond this season, that is for sure. Like, say how you feel. You don't have to suck up to Kyle or Erica or Garcelle or Sutton or anybody. Say how you feel. And yeah, that's why I think this is going to be a really great season, because we're finally getting some honest discussion. Not so much from Kyle, but that's okay. Everyone else is being honest for the most part, so I'll take it. So then in episode 2, we see Bose hosting her badass workshop. She has a red carpet out, and then she starts to talk about her career and her life and how she worked at PepsiCo, and they were going to host the Super Bowl, I believe. And then she talks about her late husband and how he got cancer, a terminal cancer, and he passed away like 3 months later. And I think her daughter was like a baby at that time. So I don't even know if like her daughter remembers him. I believe she said that her daughter was a baby. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but it's just a really sad story. I feel horrible. That just sounds so awful. I can't even imagine. But I just think her story is so inspirational. Like, she's very inspirational. And Sutton and Kyle meet for lunch. Sutton mentions that she got like a little Botox a while ago, and Kyle was like, how long ago? And Sutton says, a month ago. Can you tell? And Kyle's like, yeah. And I have to kind of go with Kyle on this. It did not, I don't know. I mean, Sutton's a beautiful woman. She doesn't even need Botox. Let's start there. But I don't know. I mean, when I see Botox, it looks fake, and like Sutton still looked real to me. So yeah, I'm kind of with Kyle on this because I'm just used to them like looking plastic, like all the other Real Housewives with like big lips and stuff. But you know, she looked beautiful no matter what. And then in Sutton's confessional, the producer asked, why does she all of a sudden trust Kyle now? And Sutton says, who said I trusted Kyle? Love it. It's Sutton being a little shady in her confessional. Love to see it. Yeah, I don't blame Sutton. I could not trust Kyle. I mean, like I said, I just don't think she's a good friend unless you're sucking up to her. And that's not a friend to me. And we all know Kyle has thrown Sutton under the bus numerous times, especially with her arguments with Erica. She did not have her back. So if I was Sutton, I would be in the same position. I wouldn't trust her. And I would just keep it surface level. She's like a surface level friend, really. Then we go to Bose's house, which is really beautiful, or mansion, I guess. It's not really, I don't think any of these women have a house, except maybe Erica. So we go to Bose's house, and Sutton, Dorit, and who else? Kathy all go to Bose's home because they're gonna have a pizza and pajama party at Kyle's house. First, they're meeting at Bose's house, and Sutton talks about what Kyle told her, which was that Mauricio replaced her image with the Dancing with the Stars partner in his office in their home. Now, when was this? I don't know, because in the beginning of episode 1, I believe she said Mo moved out. So maybe this was shortly before he moved out. But yeah, I mean, totally disrespectful. That's like really, really disrespectful. That's where their children live. Portia still lives there, I believe. And Kyle, I mean, he's been married to her for what, 20, 25 years? You know, you just can't disrespect your spouse like that or your ex-spouse like that. I mean, wait until you get your own place at least. I mean, these are millionaires here. Like, you can get your own place. It's not difficult. And then you can do all these petty things like switch out you and your wife's photo with your new partner or whatever. But I did feel for Kyle in that moment. I think that was really shady and gross of him. They all go to Kyle's house to surprise her. Kathy pretends to be the Amazon driver. She's acting a fool like always. But they finally get into Kyle's house, talk about Mauricio a little bit and the separation and all of that. Kathy is in her confessional talking about how Mauricio talks about the Hilton family and the Hilton company on his show, The Agency, on Netflix. I believe that's the show she's referencing. And she says that she thinks Mauricio needs to move on. And I do kind of agree with her, but at the same time, the Hilton name is huge and it's going to bring in views, and that is what he wants for his Netflix show. So what are you gonna do? I can't really fault Mauricio too much for that. He needs the views. And then they go back to the women at Kyle's house, and Kathy is making fun of Mauricio's Instagram stories where he takes pictures of himself working out, and she does like this weird arm motion. And she's like, Kyle, what about this? What about this? And she's like, Kyle's like, I know what you're talking about. Just stop. Kyle didn't appreciate that, but I thought it was pretty funny. And then they showed Mauricio the photos of him in the gym with his shirt off. And honestly, it is really icky. I'm not ageist. You know, you can be sexy at any age. But I don't know. It's like you have these 4 daughters. You're just getting out of like a 25-year marriage that you allegedly cheated on her multiple times. That's the rumor anyway. And I don't think that is totally unheard of. I don't think that would be a very shocking surprise, right? But that is alleged. Leave your wife for 25 years, you guys separate, and now you're taking these topless photos on your Instagram story and like partying with like 25-year-old girls or whatever. It's just like not a good look, especially if you have 4 daughters, like 4 kids, right? It's like, you got baggage. You need to like settle your baggage, be a father, you know, at least wait till Portia's out of high school and then go be a fool. But I don't know. It's just really icky to me. Okay, so then Kyle talks about how her marriage wasn't typical. She didn't have a typical marriage. This isn't going to be a typical divorce where they're going to be fighting over custody or anything like that. And it's like, well, of course you're not going to fight over custody. Portia is 18 almost, or 17. There's no more kids to fight over, right? There was a lot of money, of course. I know she said her name was on the agency, so everything's like 50-50. So I'm sure, I don't know if they would fight over it, but that's definitely something they would have to work out with the lawyers. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a typical divorce, I don't really, like, I don't know. It's probably a typical divorce for their tax bracket. So yeah, it is a sad situation. So then we see PK and Dorit meet at a restaurant. PK is actually looking really good. He says he's sober. He looks great. Good for him. It's always good to get sober if you need to. And they discuss their separation and why they separated. And basically, they say it got worse and worse, right? At first, it was just yelling. Then it was screaming, then it was cussing at each other, then it was just taking low blows. And yeah, that'll definitely ruin a marriage. And PK says that Dorit wasn't the woman that he married and that your spouse comes first in your marriage. I do kind of agree with that. I mean, the kids come first really in the beginning when the kids are little, because the kids are little. They need your help. And so the kids will come first in that way. But yeah, but your spouse does need to be a priority, because once the kids move out, right? Look at Kyle and Mauricio, you know, like you have to prioritize your marriage. So I can agree with PK on that. But he says that Dorit isn't the same woman that she was when they met, and that he wanted someone by his side, and that he was the global entrepreneur and blah, blah, blah. And listen, whatever, you know, you hear this from men all the time. Like, the woman isn't the same woman she was after we had 2 kids and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, no, she's not going to be the same woman. And I know Dorit was rich and they are rich and they had like nannies and stuff for help. But still, having a child really changes you. I just had my child 10 and a half months ago. It's just, at least for the first few years, you're just about your baby, right? Because they're so little and you have to take care of them. But yeah, of course you change when you become a parent. And I think that would be the same for men too. I would hope so, at least change for the better. To me, it kind of sounded like you weren't up my butt anymore. You didn't like kiss the ground I walked on anymore. And so you know, you weren't the same woman I met. And so good for Dorit, honestly. Good for Dorit. Like I said, I just don't think they're compatible. I never thought they were. I never thought they made a great couple. So it kind of ends with them separating. They're driving off in different directions, and we end there. I think it's been a great season so far. I mean, we're only 2 episodes in, but I love the production. I think it looks looks different. It just looks like a really big upgrade. So let me know your thoughts. What did you think of episodes 1 and 2 of season 14? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye.